The world has become a painting for Rayan. The vibrant, hollow crests of the Parasaurolophs hood are brushstrokes of crimson and gold against the green canvas of the riverbank. He sees the ripple of muscle under their hides, the nervous flick of a tail, the slow, deliberate bull dips its head to drink. These are the details that matter. For a hunter of his renown, sight is everything. He no longer trusts the other senses. The low, resonant calls the herd makes, a symphony of warnings and assurances that echo through their strange cranial plumbing, are lost to him. He sees their throats vibrate, but the sound is a ghost, a memory of a song he can no longer hear. This is the silent, terrifying reality of his prehistoric life. Beside him, Terracale eyes still as stone, his young eyes fixed on Rayan, waiting for the signal. The boy worships him. In the oral history of the clan, Rayan is the hunter who cannot fail, the man whose spear finds the heart of any beast. Terracale's complete faith is a heavy weight, a constant reminder of the secret Rayan guards with his life. His deafness. It began as a ringing in the ears after a bad fall, and over many moons, the vibrant sounds of the world have faded, one by one, into a dull, muffled silence. His unparalleled survival skills are now a dangerous performance. Rayan watches the water. It is murky brown with silt. Reeds choke the shallows. He scans for the telltale shape of a log that is not a log. The herd is not a log. The herd is calm. The herd is calm. The bull is vulnerable. This is the moment. He gives Terracale a slow, deliberate nod. The boy moves like a viper, slipping from the undergrowth and into the shallow water, spear held high. He takes 2 steps, his feet sinking into the soft mud. And then the water explodes. It is a detonation. High wall of brown water and teeth erupts where Terracale stands. The log Rayan missed was a living nightmare, a 30-foot crocodilian, a DEI no such as. An ambush predator of unimaginable size and power. Rayan does not hear the boy's scream, but he sees the pure, white-hot terror on his face. He sees the monster's jaws, lined with teeth like sharpened stones, closing on Terracale's leg. Instinct, honed over 1,000 hunts, takes over. Rayan is moving before his mind can process the failure. He launches his spear not at the creature's armored head, but at its eye. The flint point strikes true. The beast roars in pain, a silent roar to Rayan and threshes, releasing Terracale for a split second. Rayan is in the water, hauling the screaming, bleeding boy back to the bank, dragging him away from the thrashing fury in the river. The hunt is over. Terracale is alive, his leg mangled, but the real casualty is Rayan's legend. Later, by the fire, Terracale looks at him, his eyes wide with the memory of the attack. The hiss, the boy rasps through the pain. I heard it hiss right before. Why didn't you stop me? Rayan has now an accusation. Exile is a quiet word, but it hangs in the air of the camp like the smoke from a dead fire. Rayan is no longer a legend. He is a liability. Terracale's wound is deep, the leg ruined. The other hunters now give Rayan a wide berth, their gazes a mixture of pity and fear. His failure has shaken the foundations of their trust. In the brutal economy of these ancient humans, a hunter who cannot be trusted, he is a ghost in his own clan, a silent observer of the life he once commanded. Desperation becomes his new hunting ground. He must find a new way to hear, or he will be cast out to face the silent world alone. He begins to spend his days not in the hunt but in quiet observation, stripped of his spear and his status. He lies on the sun-warmed granite of the high lookouts, his cheek pressed against the stone. He closes his eyes, trying to force his other senses to compensate. He feels the distant footfalls of a herd of triceratops not as a sound, but as a deep, rhythmic tremor in his bones, a vibration that travels through the rock and into his skull. He begins to understand. The earth has a voice. He just needs to learn its language. This becomes his secret obsession, a desperate form of sensory substitution. He practices relentlessly. He lies by the riverbank and learns the sharp, sudden vibration of a fish breaking the surface, so different from the gentle, lapping pulse of the current. He places his palm on the trunk of a great cycad and can feel the frantic drumming of a woodpecker-like bird far up in its fronds. He learns the heavy, earth-shaking tread of a Brachiosaurus, a slow, rolling earthquake that speaks of immense size. He learns the light, quick patter of a pack of smaller carnivores, their passage a nervous shudder in the soil. It is a new form of paleogology, one written not in fossils, but in the living, breathing vibrations of the world. His perception of the world is transforming. He no longer sees just a landscape. He feels its inner workings, the secret movements of the life within it. The hunters are planning a raid on a clutch of dinosaur eggs in the lowlands, a risky but necessary venture for a clan low on protein. Rayan approaches the war leader, Kale, who now carries the mantle of chief hunter, Ray, and does not speak. He kneels, places his hand flat on the dusty ground of the camp. He closes his eyes, his face a mask of concentration. After a long moment, he picks up a piece of charcoal and draws in the dirt. He draws the symbol for the small, fast raptors. Then he draws 3 marks beside it. He points to the east. Kale stares, skeptical. Scouts saw nothing, he grunts. Rayan simply holds his gaze, his hand still pressed to the earth, a silent insistence. Kale, driven by a flicker of the old respect, sends 2 of his fastest runners. They return an hour later, their faces pale. 3 velociraptors were lying in wait in a dry creek bed, exactly where Rayan had indicated. The hunters stare at Rayan with a new kind of awe. He is no longer the deaf hunter. He is something else, something more. The fog rolls in from the lowlands without warning, a thick, white blanket that smothers the world. Sound dies in its damp embrace. Sight is reduced to a few ghostly feet. For the clan, huddled in their rock shelter, it is a time of blindness and vulnerability. Predators use the fog to their advantage, and the familiar landscape becomes a maze of unseen dangers. This is where the story of human evolution pivots not on a new tool, but on a new way of perceiving reality. Their sharp eyes defeated by the whiteout. The clan is trapped. A child cries, and the sound is swallowed by the oppressive silence. Rayan is perfectly calm. For him, the world is always silent. The fog has simply blinded the others, making them equal to him. He walks to the edge of the shelter, barefoot, and places his palms and the soles of his feet flat against the bedrock floor. He closes his eyes, tuning out the useless world of sight, and listens to the earth. He feels it, a heavy, methodical, dragging rhythm. It is so ponderous, and it is getting closer. Thump. Drag. It is a vibration signature he has not felt before, one that speaks of immense weight and impenetrable defense. He opens his eyes and finds Kale. He uses his hands, mimicking a low-slung body and a swinging tail. He pounds his fist into his other palm, a sign for a heavy club. It is an Ankylosaurus, the living fortress, its body covered in bony plates and osteoderm is, its tail a devastating weapon. It is blundering towards their shelter in the fog, its poor eyesight making it unaware of their presence. If it continues on its path, it will bring the rock overhang down upon them. Panic is a useless luxury. Kale looks at his hunters, who are now just frightened men staring into a white wall. He then looks at Rayan, whose eyes are alive with a clarity no one else possesses. Rayan points to a narrow game trail leading up the side of the cliff, a treacherous path they rarely use. Then he points at himself, and then towards the approaching vibration. The meaning is clear. He will go out and divert the beast, leading it away from the shelter while the others escape. It is a suicide mission. To face an armored giant, blind and alone, is an act of unimaginable bravery, or profound sacrifice. Kale grips Rayan's shoulder, a silent acknowledgement passing between the 2 men. Rayan is no longer the deaf hunter. He is their ears. He is their only hope. He picks up a single, heavy stone in each hand and walks out into the fog, disappearing into the white silence, guided only by the drumbeat of doom in the bones of the earth. Disability is a concept of context. In a world of sound, deafness is a crippling weakness. But in a world of silence and fog, it becomes a revolutionary strength. Ryan's journey shows that survival is not always about being the strongest or the fastest, but the most adaptable. The moment our ancestors learned to turn a deficit into an advantage was the moment they truly stepped away from the animal kingdom. They learned that the loss of one sense could sharpen others to a supernatural degree, creating a new kind of hunter, a new kind of human. This is the tragic and beautiful irony of our evolution, that our greatest vulnerabilities often forge our most profound and unexpected strengths. Our path was carved not just by those who could see and hear the world, but by those who learned to feel its deepest secrets in their very bones. This is the chronicle of our ascent. Not a grand march, but a desperate crawl written in the language of stone, sinew, and stars. And the silence holds its own secrets.